Vegas has had protests in support of Breonna Taylor over the past few nights. I will say that, as per usual, Las Vegas, when we participate in protests, they generally are peaceful protests, which I support 110%. Those of you who know me well, I'm not big on protesting, period. I am not a big believer in protesting. If you want to protest, great, but I'm never going to stop going to Target because I don't like something. I'm never going to stop going to Disneyland because I don't like something. What I am I'm fine with people protesting to show their personal opinions and rights. But what I am not down with is I am not down with violence. And I am not down with the violence that we've been seeing on the Las Vegas Strip. Again, not necessarily related to any particular protests, but we have had a lot of violence lately. There were the gunshots at the Aria earlier this week on Tuesday. There was a fight at the Paris Hotel earlier where two people were sent to the hospital. On September 9th, the Metro actually shot and killed a man on the Strip near Elvis Presley Boulevard. We had the shooting in July at the Bellagio. Things are definitely getting tense on the Las Vegas Strip. And today, I really want to hear from you, particularly if you're on the Strip a lot. If you work at one of the Strip properties, maybe at a restaurant, we want to hear from you. The number to call is 702-221-7283. If you want to give us a call right now, I want to hear what your experience has been like on the Strip. I know I've talked to some folks who work at the restaurants there as wait staff, and they just say it has been out of control since COVID, since they opened up, that there's just been a whole new class and character of people who are a bit more violent, a bit more crazy. As with the shooting that we saw at the Aria Hotel on Tuesday, that was when rapper Moneybagg Yo. How many of you know Moneybagg Yo? I don't know Moneybagg Yo. I think I need to check out his music, because Moneybagg Yo obviously is a real baller, because he was going to get a car for his birthday over at the Ballet. And for some reason or another, that turned into a shooting on the Strip. And the thing is we're seeing so much more of this. You know, when I worked at Channel 8, we were on the morning show. So we had to get to work usually around, 2:30 in the morning. So I was on the Strip overnight all the time. We rarely saw anything happen. I remember it had to have been maybe 2014, maybe it was 2015. I'm not quite sure when the Strip shooting happened. Remember, there was the drive-by shooting, the rapper and the pimp, they got in a fight on the shoot. It was the fiery. That was one of the first incidents we saw on the Strip in a long, long time. I mean, Las Vegas has always been considered a very safe place. Las Vegas has always been considered a place where you can kind of hang out into the wee hours of the morning and everything is going to be okay. That appears to be changing, though. Look at some of these statistics I want to share with you. It's absolutely shocking. Get this one. Back in 2019, from January through September, there were 238 aggravated assaults around Convention Center Command. So basically, right on the Strip. As of now, as of September of 2020, we've seen 308 aggravated assaults, with gun incidents up 35%. 35%. Can you believe that? It's ridiculous how much the crime has increased. And I've been looking at these stories that all the stations are doing. Channel 3 is doing stories, Channel 8's doing stories, and they're saying that visitors no longer feel safe when it gets dark on the Strip. That the Strip has changed, and that once it gets dark, once we get into the nighttime hours, it is no longer a safe place to be. We really do need to discuss this as a community, because the Las Vegas Strip is our bread and butter. The Las Vegas Strip is how we survive as a state. That is where all the money comes in. That's where the tourists go. That's where the sales tax comes in. That's where all the tax from the restaurants and from the beverages and the bars, that sustains us. That's what's going to help us pay for that Raiders stadium that we bought on bonds. We have to make sure that Las Vegas is a safe place that tourists want to come to. The question is, has that changed? Has the recent violence on the Strip changed? And are you noticing it? Is it a problem for you? If you are listening right now, I would love for you to join in with your 2 cents, 702-221-7283, because the situation with crime is definitely changing. Las Vegas Police Captain Dory Corrin said on Wednesday that overall violent violent crime is up less than 1% in 2020, but the aggravated assaults are up 29% per year. So we're seeing more. They've recovered 64 illegal firearms in just 30 days. 64 illegal firearms on the Strip? Doesn't that seem a little bit excessive to you? It sure does to me. Marty Alcalade, a mother of two who was visiting family in Las Vegas from Mexico, called the city her second home, but that when she goes out with family, she doesn't want to feel so nervous. She wants to feel safe. She visits so often, and she says it's scary to hear violence is going up. The big question is, if violence continues to go up, will we still be a tourist destination? I mean, thanks to the amazing leadership of our public health hero. Yes. Governor Sisolak, did you hear he was named a hero this week? A public health hero for the way that he has managed COVID here in the great old Silver State. He should be nominated a public health zero because, of course, as we all know, due to his disastrous and horrible leadership, the Strip has been closed for so long, and because of his refusal to open up, we have lost convention after convention. We are losing event after event. We have lost the rodeo, and we may never get these things back. So he, slowly but surely, all on his own, is somewhat destroying Las Vegas and our tourism and our future. But of course, let's call him a public health hero. I mean, he didn't really do anything on his own. All he did was follow his brother Gavin Newsom in making every single decision. And he just goes on Twitter to say, I just hate you, Donald Trump. That's literally all he does. That is literally all he does. So he's not a health hero. But the future of Las Vegas is truly, truly in peril because if people no longer feel comfortable coming here, do you think CES is going to come back? I'm not so sure. Do you think the rodeo will come back, or will it find its permanent home there in Texas? It could happen. I want to hear what you think at 702-221-7283, because we certainly do not want to continue to see this types of violence, and we don't want Las Vegas to change. We don't want Las Vegas's future to be hindered in any way, shape, or form because of ineffective leadership. And I think some people wonder, hey, is Metro not doing its job? Hey, now, I think Metro is doing its job. The fact that they were able to confiscate 64 guns off the Strip says that they are, in fact, doing their job. But have we made it harder for Metro to do its job? Have we made it harder with all of the protests, with all of the talk of defund the police, with all of the talk of police are bad, with all of the talk that they're doing everything wrong? Have we made it harder for Metro to do its job? Have we made it harder for Metro to police the Strip? Remember when we had protests earlier in the year in June? Back then it was for George Floyd. Now it's for Breonna Taylor. Officer Shea was shot in the head and his life has been forever changed. Have we made it more difficult for police to do their job? It's interesting. Charles Barkley, even last night in his commentary role, and I've always kind of liked Charles Barkley. I don't know one thing about his politics, to be perfectly honest with you, but I think he's a riot. I think he's hilarious. I think he says really extreme things all of the time. But he said something so poignant last night. He said, we've got to stop with this defund the police nonsense. If we want reformation in the police system, okay, but we need the police. And we absolutely do. Yet we keep attacking the system as a whole, almost like we don't want it here. And I think more than ever, we need to back the blue. I think more than ever, we need to black the brown because, of course, Metro, they're wearing those brown uniforms. We need to be supporting Metro because they are going to be the ones that are going to keep our Strip safe. They are the reason why the conventions will come back. They are the reason why the tourists will go up and down the Strip. They are the reason. We need to applaud our police. And I just swear, I don't think we do it enough. I think we've made police the enemy because of isolated incidents, whether it's George Floyd, whether it was Breonna Taylor, whatever the incident is, we say, see, that's the norm. It's not the norm. And every day we normalize that police brutality is the norm. We're not just hurting police. We're hurting the future of Las Vegas. And personally, that's not a risk I'm willing to take. That is not a risk I am willing to take at all, because this city means too much to me. I believe from the bottom of my heart that what happens in Vegas will change the world. No, I've not believed for a long time that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Sure, if you want to have an affair and you want to get with a prostitute and maybe you want to do a little coke, sure, that can be all hidden. Fine. But this city is going to change the world. This is a bright and shining city on a hill. I get it. We're in a valley, but we are making a difference here. And part of it is because of relationship with police. Listen, but Vegas is really the epicenter of police reform and prison reform because of amazing men like my best friend, John Ponder, and Hope for Prisoners. We are becoming the go-to city for police reform and for prisoner reform right here. Did you know that Las Vegas Metro Police reformed the way they were going to handle situations where they might do a chokehold or something like that? They reformed their entire system before the George Floyd case even happened. That happened, I believe, on May 14th, if memory serves. Our police system, under Sheriff Lombardo, are heads and tails above the rest. They have been at the forefront of making real change. Yet all you hear on the news today is that the police are wrong, the police are bad, and the police kill people. You know, right now everyone is looking at the Breonna Taylor case, and the Breonna Taylor case has shown us one thing. No-knock warrants may very well be a bad thing, but evidently, according to what we've learned through the grand jury and through the attorney general there, they did knock. They did identify themselves. The boyfriend is the one who started shooting at them. The boyfriend is just as much a part of the problem as to why that poor girl died. That poor girl who never needed to die. That poor girl whose life did not need to be cut short. I'm all for looking at reforms about no-knock warrants. I can see the good and the bad in those. I'm all about reforming to make sure that our police are able to do everything they need to do, but that bad actors are always taken care of quickly. I want to do everything I can to end the idea that systemic racism exists, because I believe it existed at one time. And I believe here in 2020, we are getting further and further and further away from that, because we're becoming better people. We're becoming good people who don't like any of that nonsense that we saw in the 50s and the 60s. We want nothing to do with it. But are we blaming the wrong people time and time again? I think sometimes we are. You know, this song, Rick Astley, everybody's saying Rick Astley needs to run for office because he's never going to let you down. He's never going to hurt you, girl. He's never going to desert you. You know what? I think what we really need is we need ourselves to come together and fight and have our voices heard so that we are never let down again. Because you want to know who lets us down? The media lets us down. Bad politicians let us down. But it's certainly not the police. It's certainly not our community, because our community is freaking fantastic. And I want to tell you about an amazing member of our community, because in the next break, we are going to meet the woman who I believe is going to take down one of the most corrupt politicians in Nevada history. We are going to meet the amazing April Becker, who is running for State Senate District 6. So stay tuned and don't go anywhere. This is going to be an interview you can't miss. We've known each other for so long. Your heart's been aching. Hi, this is